Welcome back, focused learners. Today we're cracking open something I've been super excited to talk about. We're decoding a truly fascinating framework. We're going to unpack S5, which is essentially the investigator's playbook for financial statements. We're going to look right under the hood to uncover the exact loopholes and tricks companies use to manipulate their profits. But more importantly, we'll see how this specific accounting standard acts as a lie detector to catch them right in the act.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the illusion of profit, move into how companies try to manipulate time, explore the shell game of estimates, look at how they play fast and loose with policies, and finally, wrap the whole shebang up with AS5's ultimate solutions.
All right, Section 1, the illusion of profit, how numbers can lie. Let's see how profits aren't always exactly what they seem to be when management decides to get a little creative with the rules. So here's the harsh reality. Without strict standards acting as our anchor, financial statements can very easily transform from objective records of a company's health into carefully manipulated illusions. It's wild to think about, but without a standard like AS5 acting as a lie detector, investors are completely flying blind. And look, these aren't just theoretical problems cooked up in some accounting classroom, right? These are real-world dangers derived directly from our source data. Companies have literally vanished overnight because of these tricks. We're talking about active profit manipulation, shifting losses between different years just to make a bad year look good, outright investor deception, fraud concealment, and generally misleading financial reporting. This is exactly why spotting these red flags matters so incredibly much to anyone analyzing a business.
Moving on to Section 2, accounting time travel tricks, shifting the timeline. Let's explore our first major theme of deception. So it kind of begs the question, doesn't it? How exactly does a company magically shift its profits using time? Let's look at the specific loopholes they try to jump through.
And this brilliantly illustrates the battle between the manipulators and the standard. Companies will try these tricks, specifically loopholes 1 and 8. They love the misclassification of prior period items. Think of it like finding an old massive credit card bill from last year and pretending you just spent the money today to artificially lower your current profit and avoid taxes. Or they'll just manipulate entries with backdated adjustments to shift profits around. But ASE 5 steps in and sets a trap. It explicitly states that backdating entries is just not permitted. All prior period adjustments must be recorded in the current period, and crucially, they absolutely cannot be mixed with current items.
Just look at the bare language of the standard here. Prior period items shall be separately disclosed in the statement of profit and loss. The same shall not be mixed with current period items. That establishes the unshakable authority of AS5. It literally forces companies to clearly state the nature and amount of these items, so absolutely nothing is hidden in the current year's performance.
Let's see how this builds in Section 3, the estimate shell game, hiding behind guesses and exceptions.
Now AS5 dictates that only events truly fundamentally distinct from ordinary activities can count as extraordinary items. Why does that matter? Well, because of loophole 5. Companies love to artificially create extraordinary items. They'll take a normal, totally routine business loss and classify it as extraordinary. And by doing this, they push that loss out of their regular operating expenses, which artificially inflates their core performance. AS5 shuts this down completely by stating routine business losses shall not be classified this way.
So, beyond fake, extraordinary items, what happens when a company wants to hide a massive historical mistake? Or maybe they just want to smooth out their income so it looks perfectly stable year after year. Well, they play a massive shell game. For instance, with loopholes 2 and 6, a company might have calculated their depreciation wrong in the past, but instead of admitting the error, they hide it by treating it as a simple change in accounting estimate. Or management manipulates estimates, like changing provision percentages year-to-year, just to smooth out their income. But ASIS 5 has a solution for this. Errors from prior periods absolutely cannot be treated as a change in estimate. They must be corrected and disclosed as prior period items, period. And if you do change an estimate, ASIS 5 requires reasonable, verifiable data. Arbitrary changes are strictly prohibited.
The risks of the shell game, they're severe. It leads to a complete lack of transparency and artificial stability that tricks people into thinking the company is way less volatile than it actually is, and, of course, an inflated core performance. And all of this leads straight to investor deception.
Section 4. Playing fast with policies. Changing the rules of the game.
Let's look at what happens when companies constantly move the goalposts.
Think about this for a second. What happens when a company constantly changes how they value their inventory, like switching methods year after year solely to show better results and boost their profits? This is loophole 3 in our source data. This is what we call policy bending, changing policies yearly for better results, and honestly, even worse. Loophole 4, hiding the financial impact of those changes from the user entirely. But the AS5 mandate steps in here and demands consistent application of accounting policies. You can't just change them whenever you want to make your earnings look better. Changes are only allowed if required by a statute or if it genuinely results in a more appropriate presentation. So the crucial point is that it prevents earnings manipulation and maintains real comparability.
And to enforce this, AS5 uses this uncompromising phrasing. The financial impact of a change in accounting policy shall be quantified and disclosed. If not ascertainable, the fact shall be stated. It forces companies to put a hard number on their policy changes, making absolutely sure they can't hide the real motivation behind the switch.
Which brings us to Section 5, the ultimate AS5 solutions, the lie detector test. Let's look at the overarching structural defenses this standard provides against all this nonsense.
Because with all these tricks, shifting time, changing estimates, bending policies, how do we actually catch all this mixed up data and unchecked manipulation before it's too late?
Well, first we have to defeat the mixer trick, which is loophole 7. Companies love to mix all these items together without any clarity in their statements, so users literally cannot understand their real performance. AS5's segregation rule acts as a massive filter here. The profit and loss statement is strictly required to clearly separate ordinary activities, prior period items, extraordinary items, and changes in estimates. Real performance just can't hide in a messy, mixed-up statement anymore.
Furthermore, AS5 arms auditors to fight loophole 9, which is the lack of auditor scrutiny. Management often tries to push changes through without a strong challenge, but AS5 provides this strict 4-step checklist. First, verify the reason for the policy change. Second, verify the consistency of application. Next, verify the exact impact on the financial statements. And finally, verify overall compliance with AS5. This structure provides a huge roadblock to unchecked manipulation.
And our final defense targets, loophole 10, inconsistent treatment across different entities or years. AS5 demands uniform accounting treatment for similar transactions. If a company tries to treat the exact same transaction differently just to suit their profit goals, that deviation must be strictly justified and fully disclosed. This ensures that when you look at financial statements, you're getting true comparability.
We've seen how easily profits can be manipulated by shifting timelines, hiding behind estimates, and bending policies. AS5 is the structure that keeps those illusions in check. So I leave you with this. If numbers don't lie, but the people writing them absolutely can, are you looking close enough at the AS5 disclosures in the next financial statement you read? Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.